So the next thing that I want to do is comment out everything that I've got here, because I'm going to be using this later. But the first thing that I want to do now is go through all the nodes in my network. So to do this, I'm going to make a loop. It's called for node in who.node. Let's the root node will be obj. Obj dot children. So for all children in here, print node for now. Let me see, apply. Okay, nothing comes back. That's logic because my network is empty, my whole scene is empty. So I'm gonna put some nodes in here to see if it works. A geo node, another geo node, a camera node, for example, and a light node, whatever. And now if I do this, voila, yeah, I get geo, cam, and light. Okay, so that works. Well, these two, I don't need them for now, just the geometry nodes. But what I want to do, instead of go through all the children, I want to go to through more than that. Because if I put a subnet in here, and in my subnet I put another geometry node, then if I click this now, I only get geo, and subnet, but I do not get this one. So I want to go through all the children. So it's not children, but all sub children. And I think that I need to, I don't know if it's with no, it's not all with it's a small one, all sub children. Apply. Yes, this is the one I need. So to see, voila, geo2, subnet, and in this subnet I get the geo as well. So this goes on even further, because if, for example, in this geo node I would place another subnet, subnetwork, and in this subnetwork I would have another geometry node, not another, let me see, geo, subnet. And yeah, or I could have another one here, even a geo, another geo node. Oh, not a hair geo node. Geo, I cannot do that. Oh, I'm already in a geo, sorry. Another geo node. And in here, I'm gonna put a subnet in here, subnetwork. And in the subnetwork here, well, it doesn't really matter what all the files that are in there. If I go up here, I get everything, all the nodes, everything I get. So this is what I want. So let's remove this one for now and just get the subnet, and in here, yeah, well, it's okay for now. Just instead of a subnet, what I'm going to do in here, I'm going to put a file node in here, because this is the ones that are of most interest for me for now. So see again. Okay, so I got geo, subnet, geo, a file. Okay, and I'm going to put a file node in here as well to make sure that it works. Okay, once again. Okay, so I got multiple file nodes in multiple positions. Here another file node as well. And in this file node, I'm going to just call this files2. Doesn't really matter. And if I put this now, yeah, I get everything, all the nodes of all the children I get in here. So the next thing that I want to do is, instead of just printing all the nodes, I want to go through all the parameters in every single node. But to do this, I'm going to define a function, because I want to make a function where I say change params. And for what node do I want to change this? For the node that I'm going to give when I call the function. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to print here and say print node, and instead of here, instead of printing it, I'm going to say change params with node. Voila. So this is actually exactly the same as what we had before. It's going to print everything, but it's going to do this in this function. But why do I do this in this function? Because in this function I can do more than just printing. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a list, or actually an array, of all the parameters that are in the node that are of interest to me. So, and if I go and have a look at, for example, the file node here, there's a lot of things in here that are not of interest to me. For example, here the save, load, retries, all this kind. I don't care about this. The amount of caching, I don't care about this. I don't care about all this. I don't care about this. The only thing that I care about is where there is something, some string that's typed into a parameter. So I'm going to make a list of all those parameters where there's a string involved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say string params is an array of parm for parm in node.parms. So for all parameters in the node that I'm given here, take the parameter and put it in the list, but only if parm.parmTemplate dot type equals how dot parm template type dot string. Yep, that's what I want. So and now instead of printing the node, what I can do is for parm in string parms print yeah, just parm for now. Okay, so I'll say apply, and let's see if I made a mistake. Nope, I didn't make a mistake. Now I get all the parameters that are in all the nodes in the entire scene where there is a string involved. So that looks like there's a lot. There is a lot actually. Everywhere where you can put in the string, that's in here now. There's a lot, as you can see, in the subnet, because subnets, there are a lot of stuff in. There's a lot of stuff in here that can actually use strings, but because I don't know, here these things are strings as well. Everything, well, there's a lot, but trust me, for now this is what we need. So what I want to do now, I want to search through all these strings to find what the user wants me to find. So I'm going to restore this input part. And instead of printing the node here, what I did earlier, I'm going to say, what I already put in here for node. I just did that earlier. I'll copy this here. Oh, just remove this and here. So what I'm going to do here, I'll ask input for the user. Then if that input, if we push the button OK, like we saw in the first video, then I'm gonna call for every single node in the whole scene. I'm gonna call the function change params with the node that I want to work it for, and I'm gonna pass on the search and the replace values as well. So in order to be able to do this, I'm going to have to change it here. So node and then search and replace. So what's going to happen now, I'm going to delete some spaces here because I've got way too many empty lines. So I defined my function. I'm asking the user, what do you want me to search for, and what do you want me to replace it for, and then I'm going to give those to this function. So far, so good. So instead of just printing all this now, I'm going through all the string parameters, and I'm going to say if, and then search is in parm.eval. So if you find my search string in the value of the parameter, then what I want you to do is print the parm for now. I'm going to continue with this later. So what I can do now, for example, is see, for example, this default.bgo. I can click this now and I say, okay, search for default and replace. Well, we don't do anything with this yet, but okay. Let's say, okay, so, well, instead of just printing the parm, I'm going to say print found something, something, and in, well, and then here. Okay, apply, and go again and say this. So here I'm going to say default again. Oh, yes, and I'm not going to replace this with anything. So, okay, found something in. So here we go. I found it in Geo file 1. So that's in Geo 1 file 1. That's this one here. I found another one in Geo 2 file 2. Here, there I found one too, and I found one over here as well in this parameter here. So okay, that's cool. So the next step that I have to do is I'm gonna have to change it into the thing that I want to replace it in. But okay, instead of printing found something now and printing the parameter, I'm going to do something else then. What I'm going to do now is make the new value that I'm going to put in there. So I'm going to say new value equals parm.eval and oops, like this, dot replace, and then to replace I say the search and replace. And then what I have to do now is set the parameter parm.set to the new value. New value. Here we go. Apply. So let's see what's gonna happen if I do this. I'm gonna try to find default, and I'm gonna change this to new. So I'm gonna say okay. Well, he found something apparently. Still got the found something. Oh, I did not apply this yet. Oh yeah, I did. Let's see what's happening here. In Geo, I'm gonna make this a little bit over here. In Geo, where it used to be default.bgo, it says now new.bgo, exactly as I expected. Same is going on for here. And if I'm not mistaken, then here as well. In this, also the default has been changed to new.bgo. It gives an error, of course, because it cannot find the new.bgo file, because there is no such thing as a new.bgo file, but it did change it. So if now I do the other way around, new to default, I can click OK, and it goes back to default here, over here default, and voila, and in the last one here, of course, as well. Where's the geo here file here as well? So that's actually working, but there is a problem here, and the problem is the next thing. If, for example, here in this file, I would have, instead of a default.bgo, default underscore dollar f4.bgo, for example, something like this. Well, it cannot find it, of course, but if I run this now and I say default and replace it with new, like we did earlier, now what it does here is it removes the $4 that I had for every file, every frame with padding of 4. It automatically evaluates this. And why is this? That's because we are using eval here. We're evaluating this, and we do not want to evaluate it. Well, we want to evaluate it if we're going to search for something, but we do not want to evaluate here when we replace it. What we want to do here is, instead of eval, we're gonna have to use the raw value. So if I apply this, and I'm gonna say here back to new, and then $f4.bgo. Well, of course, it cannot find it. Did I apply? I think. Replace file, and I'm going to say new, and with, well, let's call it old for now. And okay, now you see it does leave the $f4 intact. So it's better to use the raw value than the eval in this case. All right, so well, we've come quite far, but there's still one thing that I think is missing here. What I'm doing so far is everything in OBJ, but as we know, we can also use file caches in other places than in OBJ. We can have not only file caches, but also in, for example, in material context. If, for example, if we have a, let me see, if a standard surface here. Now I want to make not this one, I want to make a material builder, Arnold material builder, for example. If I'm going to use this one and I do a standard surface here, shader here, and then here I'm going to use the image, which I do pretty often, and throw this into the base color. For example, here, if we say nice image dot exr or png, whatever, doesn't really matter. If we put this in here, or we have, for example, material x carbon material builder, for instance, here, and we use an image text2d, this one, and the out of this goes into the base color here, and this file name is a nice underscore image dot png. If we want to change these, everything that's in here, if we want to change this as well, we're not going to do this if we're only looking at OBJ. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say every context that I want to look in, I'm going to use that. So that's actually, I want to look in OBJ context. That's of OBJ. That's definitely where I want to look. But I also want to look at material context. Voila. So now, what I'm going to do here, instead of doing for all the nodes here, what I'm going to do is make another loop in here, and I'm going to say for root node in context or semicolon in English, and then for node in, and then this is not here. Here we're going to have to replace this with root node, and then all subchildren. Then we're going to do this, apply. So now, let me see, I had this one called nice image. So let's say, if we want to say nice, and we want to change the nice, but we also want to go into here and call this nice old, the dollar here, we don't need it anymore, nice old geo, whatever. Doesn't exist, and here in the subnet as well, we're going to go here and old nice, we're going to call this .bgo. Okay, so now if I already applied this, I'm going to say I want to search for nice, and I want to replace this with cool. I'm going to say okay. So now if I'm going to have a look here, it's not anymore, it's now cool old geo. It's correct. In here there was something as well with nice, so let's see if this worked. Old cool, it worked, but now does it work in here as well? Let me see. Yeah, cool image, not nice image anymore, and the same here in this one, cool image. Voila, so here it worked as well. So there's still one context that might actually be interesting, and that's the stage stage context as well. So if we do here, stage, and I say apply, we go to stage. For example, if we're gonna do a sublayer here or something like that, and we're gonna use a file here, my nice whatever usd.usd. Well, it cannot find it, of course, but now if yes, I spelled this correct. So if I go on to obj and see if, oh, I had cool. I want to change cool. Sorry, stage my cool usd.usd. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna search for cool. I'm gonna change for nice, and now here it's gonna go on my nice USD, and in the material context, everything where it was cool, it's back to nice again, and on OBJ level, everywhere where it's was cool, it's nice again as well. So, well, of course, it's not really just for changing cool images to nice images is not really, or cool geo to nice geo is not really what we want. But you can imagine that if you had a whole path in here, so for example, you've got the C users, or the other way around, C users, and then yeah, whatever, you can have a lot of stuff in there. Let me see, Rudy, that's me, and then documents, and well, anything you can have anything in there with, and here you get some nice geo.bgo, for example, bgo.sc, and you want to change this C users Rudy or documents, this entire stuff. You can do this now by saying, okay, this stuff I want to change this for the path to your network drive, which might be / whatever, I don't know, whatever network drive you're using, or if you have a map drive, I've got one on Y, for example, I can do this, projects, and then et voila, and I've changed everything everywhere in the whole scene all at once. So apply, accept. I hope this helps some people. It's not very complicated. It's only a couple of lines, actually. If you see this, if we remove all the white lines, yeah, not really a lot going on in here. But I think it might be useful for some people sometimes. And if not, then thank you for listening anyway. All right, have a nice day. Bye.